The moment you say it's okay for them to violate the law to shut down this one agency, you have said it is okay for them to violate the law and shut down anything. Anything. If they can do this with USAID, they can do this with the Department of Ed. If they can do it with the Department of Ed, they can do it with Head Start. If they can do it with Head Start, they can do it with Medicaid. If they can do it with Medicaid, they can do it with the Social Security. They can do anything. Shutting down USAID or pausing its work will have devastating global and potentially irreversible consequences, but the biggest consequence will be to us.
Even though it will hurt you as Rwanda, which depends on some US aid to fund your health care and development.
I think from being hurt, we might learn some lessons to, to do things we don't do that we should be doing. This is why I'm saying, yeah, this aid thing, which I've never been a friend of it, much as I've been a beneficiary of it.
So let's turn quickly to the funding freeze. How does that fit into this effort? There was a memo, as we know, to freeze all federal funding, federal loans and assistance. We saw the reports, the days of chaos. Once again, this is an effort to prepare to raid the Treasury, to take the resources that belong to the American people and use them to fund a massive tax cut for those who don't need it. And the idea of freezing that funding and inhibiting that recovery so that there can be just a bit more money for Donald Trump and Elon Musk and his allies is anathema to my constituents. And it should be unacceptable for all the rest of us.
What's happening, Black Coffee Crew? I'm fired up for today's discussion. We're going deep into the political rabbit hole. And trust me, it's a wild one. Today we're dissecting the situation with Adam Schiff and how he might have just stepped into a trap set by Donald Trump. We're going to explore the layers of hypocrisy, the implications for our government, and what this all means for us. Grab your coffee because this is going to be a long one. Let's break down the basics. Trump issued an executive order to freeze foreign aid for 90 days. On the surface, it looks like a standard move, right? Reevaluate spending, make sure the money is being used effectively, standard conservative procedure. But what if I told you that was just a bait? The sources suggest that this freeze was a strategic move to expose corruption, specifically within agencies that might try to circumvent the order. The idea was to identify which agencies were not playing by the rules, those who were actively trying to keep the money flowing despite the freeze. And who was at the top of that list? USAID. According to reports, they tried to bypass the executive order. They didn't just sit back and comply, they actively tried to keep the funds moving. This raises some serious questions. If everything is above board, why the need to circumvent an executive order? So what do we make of this? Was it a legitimate pause to assess where money was being spent, or was it a calculated plan to uncover corruption? And if it was a trap, how did USAID walk right into it? That's exactly what I want us to dive into today. Enter Adam Schiff, the man who never misses an opportunity to criticize Trump. Schiff was all over the news, decrying these actions. He's trying to paint this picture of Trump as this corrupt individual, cutting essential services for the poor to give to the wealthy. Schiff is saying that Trump is cutting waste and fraud so that he and his billionaire friends can make more money. Now, does anyone else feel like they have seen this before? He's claiming that this is some kind of power grab by Republicans to raid the Treasury and fund a tax cut for the rich. Now, let's be real for a minute. Does that sound familiar? It's the same playbook the left has been using for years. They accuse the right of doing exactly what they have been doing all along. It's the ultimate form of hypocrisy. Schiff is conveniently forgetting that the Democratic Party has not been exactly fiscally responsible. They've racked up debt and spent taxpayer money on all sorts of questionable things for years now. Yet they project their own sins onto the Right. This isn't a new phenomenon. They've been doing it for years. Who exactly is raiding who here? Look at the language Schiff is using. Raiding the Treasury. It's dramatic, it's fear-mongering, and it's designed to distract from the actual issue. which is the potential corruption and waste within USAID. And here's the real kicker. Schiff's narrative is that Trump is helping his rich friends, but Trump is actually trying to end tax breaks for billionaires, even for his own donors. So the evidence suggests he's not out to help his rich buddies, he's ending the tax cuts that they have had all along. So the question is, why is Schiff so upset? Let's talk about USAID's actions. They didn't just sit quietly when the executive order was issued. They tried to circumvent it. Why? If they were operating with integrity and transparency, why the need to bypass an executive order? The report suggests that their actions directly alerted the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. And this is when DOGE started to investigate USAID, because they were clearly acting in a way that is not consistent with a clean agency. This isn't about being anti-foreign aid. This is about being anti-corruption. We should all be against wasting taxpayer money, right? It's about accountability, about ensuring that our government agencies are operating ethically and responsibly. It's important to remember this wasn't just about cutting spending. It was about finding out who was abusing the system. And it looks like USAID put a big target on their own back. They walked right into it. It seems that there was something there that they needed to hide, or they would have no reason to go against the executive order. Now, here is a critical perspective that we need to discuss. The president of Rwanda has a video where he says that cutting aid might actually benefit them. He states that it will force them to be more self-reliant. This is not a perspective you typically hear from the mainstream media. This is a rare point of view from someone who is actually involved on the receiving end of the aid. The fact that he said it is not an accident, this means there's something to it that we should pay attention to. And this raises some important questions about the effectiveness of foreign aid. Are we creating dependency instead of fostering self-sufficiency? Has foreign aid become more about maintaining a system of control and influence rather than helping those in need? Maybe a pause like the one Trump initiated is actually a chance to rethink how we do things. Maybe we need to focus on sustainable solutions, trade, and genuine partnerships. Maybe by empowering nations to become self-sufficient, we can achieve a better outcome for everyone. Here's where it gets really interesting. The left is accusing the right of doing exactly what they're doing themselves. This is their signature. Move, folks! They accuse the right of trying to take away Social Security while simultaneously their own policies are putting the future of Social Security in jeopardy. Now, they cry about the wealthy, but they take millions from special interests. They accuse the right of corruption while ignoring blatant corruption in their own party. This is not an accident. This is a playbook they follow. They project their own faults and flaws onto their political opponents to distract from their own wrongdoings. They're trying to fool you with smoke and mirrors so that you don't look at what they are really doing. This isn't about left versus right. It's about honesty, seeing the facts, and holding everyone accountable. We need to be more critical and dig deeper. Don't fall for the drama, get the facts, and make your own decisions. And it's also about seeing the hypocrisy from all sides of the political spectrum, and not just from the other side. So what's the bottom line here? It seems like Adam Schiff fell right into Trump's trap. He tried to paint Trump as a villain while his own party is knee-deep in a swamp. This whole thing with USAID was not about cutting foreign aid, but about exposing corruption and government waste. And the Democrats, instead of addressing the issue, just resorted to their typical fear-mongering and hypocrisy. This entire situation with USAID was like a carefully crafted trap, and it worked, just as intended. And while Adam Schiff was trying to blame others, it exposed the potential corruption and waste within the system and within his own party. So what do you think? Drop your opinions in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and share this with a friend if you found this informative. Let's have an open and honest discussion. We need to hold our politicians accountable and expose hypocrisy from all sides of the political spectrum. Until next time, stay woke, stay informed, and don't let these politicians play you like a fiddle. Peace out.